Hi everyone, this is Dr. Yan. We are here with Marissa and with Rob, and we're gonna have you tell everyone what you do. So, your friends of mine, so, whatever.
You want to go first, Rob?
Sure.
Okay. Hi everybody, I am Marissa Andersson, and I work in learning and development and have for about the last 20 years, currently working in leadership development and learning delivery specifically.
Very cool. Thanks, Marissa.
Very nice. Hi, my name is Rob Hopkins. I am a manager of investor relations for a small junior mining company.
And today we're going to talk about the idea, what are the things that you do when you're at a conference? Because we've gone to conferences wherein we just socialize for a couple of days, and that's not really the most of the things that you need to do. There's other things that you can learn from it. Mm-hmm. So maybe we could just have ideas on what are the things that you do when you're at a conference. There's a big conference happening in Toronto right now. Mm-hmm. So what is that conference?
Yes, it's the PDAC, which is the largest mining conference in the world.
Okay.
And it's happening from March the 3rd to the 7th.
Right. So that's a promotion for them.
Yep.
They didn't pay us, but hey. So there are a couple of very specific to our industry conferences that we go to. But is it important to go to other conferences that are ancillary to our own industries? Is that going to be beneficial, you think?
I think it can be. I think there's a question of investment. Conferences are not cheap to attend. Right. You've got both the cost of attending, but then you've got the time away from your full-time gig.
Right.
And so I think you've got to be really careful in which conferences you pick. Mm-hmm. So I've been to events where it's basically been a promotion for the host organization for the entire conference, which has some other benefits, some side benefits where you're meeting people from your industry. And I'd almost want to start, if I was going somewhere outside of my industry, I'd want to be cautious of investments. Yeah.
It's a good idea to check out other conferences, but with what Marissa has said. How about you, Rob? When it comes to the idea of what are the things that you look for when you're at a conference?
Well, in terms of the conferences that we attend, it's more marketing focused. So we're either presenting our company as a investment for somebody else. So it's a little bit different from a typical conference where there's more learning and such going on. So, however, that's not to say that there isn't learning and other things going on while we're there. So
would you say it's more of like a trade show than a conference?
There's always an element of a trade show.
Yes, okay.
So,
okay.
But for example, in terms of the PDAC, it's very technical as well, and there's a lot of learning that goes on over the course of the conference for geology-based roles.
That might be fun for us to go to.
That would be interesting, yeah.
And then we'll teach them how to actually teach. That would be funny.
As a learning professional, it's hard to turn that off.
Oh my God.
When you're watching a presentation or you're going through something, it's really hard to turn off the critique.
So what other tips can we make sure our audience actually kind of make a note of when they are going to conferences?
I love it when I have an opportunity to attend with colleagues, whether formal work colleagues or my friends who are just also in the biz, and we have a bit of a divide and conquer strategy.
Right.
So you can take different tracks and different paths and then meet up for those inevitable post-conference cocktails and have a good time debriefing, and that way you really get the benefit of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you take notes when you're in conferences to make sure that you follow up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have attended a number of other conferences that are focused on investor relations, and yes, definitely take lots of notes because there's usually some learning that I can bring back to my team of people that I work with.
So let's talk about software. Is there any specific software that we use for managing all of the 10,000 business cards that we all get? Or when you take the notes, what apps do you use? Something that we can share with folks. Anything?
Yes, mine is a very sophisticated method of pen and paper. And that's probably that's not going to get me any gadget endorsements, but really I find that for me, when I want to have a strategy that both engages me in the content, but doesn't overly distract me, but helps me retain what I'm hearing,
Right.
it's good old-fashioned pen and paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you?
I have to go with the pen and paper as well. I find the act of writing down.
Bunch of old people.
Sorry, Robin. I'm so sorry.
That's horrible.
I do add some technology in where I actually transfer my notes over to, and this is a plug for Microsoft, to OneNote. So I use OneNote a lot to organize my my notes and learning and what I've taken out of things. So.
Yeah.
Ask me what apps I'm using.
What apps are you using, Robin?
So for notes, I actually use Notability, which is a great app where you can use an Apple Pen or whatever pen stylus that you have. That works for me, my version of pen and paper, because I don't want to cut trees anymore. These people do. Oh well. Horrible. But also use Evernote for capturing the business cards, but be able to actually take notes. Because at the end of it, I get to go to a variety of conferences. The challenge is I end up having so many business cards, and although I make a note at the back of a business card on what that relationship was, where I met that person, I sometimes forget and they get lost and they're like all of these papers. So I end up capturing them online, and then it'll be a lot easier to manage in the future. So it's just something that I thought might be a good thing to share.
Well, that sounds like an interesting app. If it's got a stylus, because it's the active writing that I need, right? That doesn't overly distract me. So that's something I'd be willing to try.
And it actually even has lined paper on it. So it looks like a notebook.
I'd be willing to try that.
There you go.
Yeah. I do, when I'm at a conference, I do make it a habit of very quickly looking people up if I'm finding that I'm engaged with their content. So I'm looking them up on Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram, and so that I can get them into my feeds right away. And then if I forget to write that down, at least I've got the who I was hearing. Yeah.
And you can always go back through history and like that in your work. What would be your kind of final thoughts around when it comes to pre- and during as well as post-conference? What are these things that you prepare for? What are the things that you do, and what are the things that happen afterwards that you want to make sure people actually kind of make sure they do as well?
I mean, you were talking about, kind of researching people and getting to know what their background was and such. So I find that I do that a lot, and it actually helps me plan my track of, when there's breakout sessions, where am I going to go, that kind of thing. And I'm wondering if that's a little more industry specific for us, because it's usually another investor relations professional that will be hosting those sessions. So, and then I think on the flip side, post conference, I mean, that's always the opportunity for feedback and just understanding what you've taken out of it, and often we have an ability to make sure that whoever is hosting that conference knows what your thoughts were, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
How about yours?
I think when I go to a conference, I get really excited with the number of ideas, and you kind of get overwhelmed or overloaded with so many things that you want to put into practice when you get back to work. And so I think what I try and do is be realistic, set sort of one or two things that I'm going to do as soon as I get back that I want to put into practice immediately, and trust that over time there's going to be space for the other things to come to fruition. Because if you try and do it all as soon as you get back, or you use all these new ideas as a litmus test to how successful things are now, that could really become depressing or overwhelming.
Stressful for
very stressful. Yeah.
It's always good to have stuff for your back pocket as well, right? So that then in the future, when there's a whole brainstorming around it, like I have ideas.
Yeah.
So.
No, I've definitely fallen into that trap where I want to bring back and implement everything that I've learned at a conference, and that does not work. You need to really prioritize.
Yeah.
Very cool. So make sure you check that out, and that's it for us. Thanks. We're in the subway. You're at YouTube. Bye.
Bye.